Let's please welcome John.
So my teacher brain comes in and I always have to stand next to the biggest troublemakers. That's why I'm here. You're next. So thank you for that introduction. And you're going to walk out of this room with a tool that's going to help you both organize and prioritize tasks, whether it's at work, at home, church, with Rotary. It works for all of them. And I'm glad you mentioned Penny and Rollo because Penny comes in a little bit later. It is inspired by our 34th president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix. And very serious man, not just because he was president, West Point grad, Supreme Allied Commander, but I want you to look at what he's pointing at the map with.
A knife?
A knife. He's a very serious individual, but we're going to have some fun with this. So on your first paper there, what I want you to do is just take 90 seconds and try to write down 5 to 10 tasks that you know have to be done in your world in the next 2 weeks. Only 3 of them can be work. So maybe you have something at church, maybe you have a sports practice, anything at all. And I'll know you're done because you'll be sharing with your table mates. All right, so if you take a look up at the screen, you'll see just a sample list that I have. Is anybody brave enough to share what's on their list? Next 2 weeks.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mow the grass. prep for my parents who are visiting this coming weekend. Get ready for a new employee who's going to be joining our office in the next week. Check my trail cam. That's important. And transport children.
Transport children.
Which is every day.
Right. Excellent. So your list is going to look how it's going to look. You have all different types of things. You can see my list here. And now we're going to talk about the urgency part. So urgency, if I were to label them either high or low, some things are more urgent than others. And I just want you to draw attention to number 2. It says book Airbnb, and it's low urgency. What would cause that one to jump to a high urgency?
How close you get to the trip?
If I wait too long, right? If I wait until the day before, that's going to be a crisis. So go ahead on your list here, and you can just put an H for high or an L for low. And then once you've done that, I do want you to share with your table, why did you choose high or low on some of your urgency items? So you see urgency is based mostly on time, not always. Sometimes it's event oriented, but I heard somebody mention winter is coming. Does that increase urgency on certain tasks? Do you care to give an example?
Her new tires in her car.
Okay. So if we wait too long, now we're in the ditch. Now it's an emergency. All right. So what determines importance? Because it's different for everybody. It's different for me as a father. It's different for me as a teacher.
What happens if it doesn't happen?
Okay, that's a good one. What happens if it doesn't happen? So what in our lives determines importance?
When things need to be done by. You know, the date.
Deadlines?
Consequences.
Interesting.
Who it impacts.
Who it impacts, consequences. Awesome. So again, this is all things that where this can be pretty objective. Time doesn't stop for anybody. This is a lot more subjective. And just because it's important to me doesn't mean it's important to my wife. Just because it's important to my principal doesn't mean it's important to me. So as you go through, before you write down if it's high or low importance, tell your table what's important to you. One thing that's important to you. Just go around your table. What's one thing that causes importance? Your values, your religion, your job. And then go ahead and mark high or low. The only thing I'll caution you with is if you mark everything as high importance, I'll make the argument that nothing is important. It's kind of like the Mr. Incredible, once everybody's super, nobody will be. All right, so now we're going to take what we have on our papers here with our urgency and our importance, and we're going to organize it like Dwight D. Eisenhower. And it is a tool that, again, we can use for anything. And if you look at the second sheet in your little packet, you'll see the basic breakdown. There's 4 quadrants, and you're going to put those items where they belong based on their urgency and their importance. So if I look at the very first quadrant, the do now, these are things that have those tight deadlines that have to be done today. If I look at the second quadrant, this is the things that are important, but they're not urgent yet. But they will be if we wait too long. These are things that you need to schedule. For instance, that Airbnb. If I were to wait until September 20th, now it's a crisis. Now it's urgent. However, if it's in quadrant 2 right now, I can use creative and critical thinking and find out a good time where I can sit down with my wife. Maybe it's Saturday afternoon after all our chores are done, and actually do a good analysis on where we want to stay for that wedding in our Airbnb. It's not yours.
Okay.
All right, now number 3, this is where you can give some other people some wins. This is where you can give subordinates a win and make them feel like they're doing something that's important, not because you think it's important, but somebody does, and it's urgent, so you can delegate these tasks. And then finally, eliminate. Literally take it off of your plate. If it's not urgent and it's not important, get rid of it. Wait until its urgency or importance ticks up, and then it'll make it back on your list. But we don't need to do everything all the time, believe it or not. All right, so we're going to take my list there, and I'll show you how this works, and then you'll have a chance to do it on your own. So the first thing I need to do is, which one? High urgency, high importance. Now, I don't have budget slides, but if I did, it's very important, very urgent. And then the cake. If I don't pick up that cake by 3 o'clock, there's no party. So those are high urgency, high importance. The cake one, could that be a low importance item? Could I delegate that to somebody else? You could. And that's where the individuality comes in. Is this a cake for someone who just finished 10 years with the Rotary? Is this for your 10-year-old? That plays a lot into the importance factor of it. Next, this is where you're going to spend most of your time. If I wait until Thursday to tell my boss I need an hour to take my dog Penny to the vet, now it's a crisis. But if I talk with them today, no big deal. Same with the Airbnb. I want you to look at that last one. You may not have caught that on the first slide I showed, and you may think it's odd that a grown man would schedule a haircut with another grown man. But it's a lot easier to convince Rebecca and Lisa we're going to go get a haircut when they find us at 51st.
That should be high, by the way.
There's one problem with that, though, is when you're on your 3rd haircut of the week, they catch on. All right, so now we have high urgency, low importance. This is where I can give somebody else a win. I can text my son. It's not really that important to me if I get the book back on time. It's $1 fine, but it's urgent. So I can text James, hey, when you wake up at 2 this afternoon, jump on your moped, grab that book off the counter and bring it to the library. I'm giving him a win. But it's actually going to be more expensive because I'll probably have to give him $5 so he can go to Quick Trip on the way back. But now fix the gutter on the shed. Its urgency is not to the point where things are going to get ruined, and it's not that important. So I'm going to eliminate it. We'll look at it next spring. Maybe it'll be more urgent, maybe it'll be more important, but for right now, I'm going to make Ike smile and just cut it out. Used his knife, by the way. All right, so now what I'd like you to do, you have a high urgency, high important item right now, and it's to scan this QR code and just give me a little bit of feedback. And then once you've done that, I'd like you to try to take the rest of your items and put them on your Eisenhower Matrix and see if it helps with your time management and prioritization. So that QR code is going to do 2 things. 1, it's going to give me some feedback, but 2, it's going to enter you in for a drawing. I have 4 books to give away today, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So this comes out of me getting ready to retire after 27 years in the Army. The last 6 years, I've been an instructor for the Command and General Staff College, teaching strategic level leadership to field grade officers who are going on to lead battalions and brigades. It's been the most amazing job. I've been able to teach some of the most amazing people, and I don't want that to end, but I also don't want to be in the Army anymore. I'm tired. My body is broken. So I started JVD Leadership Solutions to take high performers who get promoted, who maybe lack that leadership ability or those tools in the toolbox. And what JVD Leadership Solutions does is it literally bridges that gap. You have a hard worker, great at their job. Now they're in charge of people. It's a different set of skills. So that's what I do, is I help bring those skills to your organizations. We start with a customized needs assessment. We actually try to identify and find those leadership gaps. And then we pick from, I have a plethora of topics that I teach for the Army, which fit in great to the corporate world. And it doesn't matter. Leaders are going to lead whether they're digging ditches or in Silicon Valley. It doesn't matter. Leadership is leadership. And all of these things apply to those who lead. We do interactive keynotes. I would call this more of an interactive keynote where we talk about something and then you actually try it. I've done this with MJ Electric, which has been a lot of fun with their new hire program. Also do workshops. I did a couple workshops with The Cure and Maranatha Youth Group. Those are typically a little bit longer. You go more in depth, but that's within your organization. And those are all things that I can bring to wherever you work. My accolades are on the screen. I've been teaching and leading for a very long time. And the amount of loss in time and money that I see different organizations go through is astronomical and should terrify you, because poor leadership costs you time and costs you money.